Hey everybody, welcome in. Happy Friday. A lot of good news to get through today, and as usual, I try to pack as much information into a short window of time as possible so as not to waste your time and to provide you with unique observations out there in the world. So without further ado, in math we trust. Second of all, this is edutainment, not investment advice. And let's jump and talk about Ethereum versus Bitcoin. So a couple of interesting observations. As you guys know, I like to look at ratios and charts and try to pull some information out. If you look at the ratio of Ethereum divided by Bitcoin, you will see it is under the 200-day moving average. Now, normally there is 0.04 ETH Bitcoin ratio. And if that's the case with Bitcoin at $60,000, Ethereum historically should be at around $2,400, and it's not. However, in my mind, I think it's only a matter of time before that happens. So buckle in. I think the spring is coiled up enough, and I think it could happen. Now, if you forecast that forward to Bitcoin going to 70,000, that means Ethereum could very easily be at $2,800. Again, it's just one of those things where historically, looking at trends, it could potentially happen. So that's a little bit of ETH news, but there's a lot more to come. Let's talk about ETH versus Bitcoin. So since December 2020, Bitcoin has gone from 28,000 to 58,000, up 207%. And Ethereum has gone from $746 to over $1,800, about 240%. And historically, Ethereum runs faster but falls harder than Bitcoin. So from that perspective, again, I believe Ethereum is going to bounce in the very near future. Quick bit of stimulus update. Another new poll just came out from Harris, and these guys are very good. They used 4 times the amount of data that the Mizuno poll used, and they had a couple of key takeaways. They believe from the people that they surveyed, 15% of those surveyed will use the money to invest in stocks and Bitcoin and Ethereum. 7% of the survey responses said Bitcoin and Ethereum would be their choice. And of those who are going to invest, 41% plan to invest in crypto. So let's try calculate something now. A quick refresher from the calculation I did before from my stimulus math. The Mizuno study, I concluded that about 2.44% of the $390 billion of stimulus money would go to crypto. And that was the table that I reviewed last time. But basically, I thought I'd take the Bitcoin price up to 58.8, which is basically where it is now. And the top end of the range would be at about $66,000. Now, when we look at the Harris poll, it's more bullish. The survey is 4 times larger, and the respondents mentioned both Bitcoin and Ethereum directly. So for the interest of this actual number crunching, I assumed just Bitcoin. Okay, so I padded the numbers a little bit to take that into account. So of the $390 billion, 15 people said they would invest. That's $58 billion. And of those, 41% they would go into the market with crypto. That's $23 billion. Now, going back to the numbers, if you imagine the Tesla deal was $1.5 billion, this would be 16 times what Tesla invested at nearly $24 billion, which is very large. Now, also, per my math, for every $4 billion invested into Bitcoin, it increases the value of Bitcoin by either $1,000 or at the top end up to $4,000, again, by my math. So if these Harris poll numbers are true, the Bitcoin price over the next month or so should go to somewhere in the low end, about $62,500, up to $80,485. And that would basically mean, of all of the money that's given in stimulus, about 9.59% of that amount would go into Bitcoin or crypto. Again, just playing with numbers, playing with tables here. None of this you can take to the bank. But the key thing is the amount of stimulus money going into Bitcoin, per the Mizuno study, is about 2.44%. And per the Harris poll, 6.15%. So a lot higher. So we'll see where it goes. But again, My new estimates were back then, I think I said 58.8, which we've achieved already, and less than 10 or 15% of the stimulus is already hit, up to 66K. And in this study, it's 62K up to 80,000. So it'll be interesting to see where things shake out in about a month or so. Let's talk a little bit about Ethereum again. Ethereum reserves on crypto exchanges hit a 2-year low. The big takeaway here is there has been much more lockup as people are locking and depositing their ETH for DeFi purposes. The NFT rage is pushing demand big time, and Grayscale is growing their Ethereum Grayscale trust, and they added 50,000 coins over the last 30 days. Now they have more than nearly $6 billion in assets under investment now within Grayscale for Ethereum. So that's all very good. Now let's talk about some price targets, some updated price targets from FX Street. These guys sometimes come out with some interesting stuff. And I'm going to talk about XRP for the first time. And just because it was included in the study. So those XRP fans out there, don't get too excited. But what they said in this study was a breakout above $61,800 for Bitcoin will drive us to 70,000 very quickly. And then Ethereum breakout above 2K should land at 2,400. And coincidentally, that 2423 is exactly what I calculated in the previous slide. And XRP could go hit 0.581. So let's jump back for a second. I want to show you that my 2,400 and where that came from. I assumed that the average ratio of 0.04 ETH to Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin is at 60K, Ethereum should be at 2,400. So that makes it very, very credible indeed. So we'll see what happens with FX Street, and if we will see an Ethereum at over 2,400 in a very short time frame. Now, another thing that's very interesting to me is when to trade crypto. I've had a lot of questions from this over the past, and I saw a little chart in a recent study, which I just thought graphically was very nice the way it laid out the time zones: Greenwich Mean Time, when Asia's open, London, New York, and the prime time zones of these different overlaps of the different markets. So my personal experience, and I've done most of my buying at the weekends, very early mornings, like 3 a.m. Pacific time to 5 a.m. Pacific time. Sometimes 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. have been very, very good. Now, the weekends can be very quiet, but they can also have spikes due to very low volume. And the best times to sell, so that was the best times to buy. And because I am a hodler, I accumulate. I'm not selling Bitcoin. But if you do want to sell, the best times to sell are prime times, those marked in yellow here. So I thought that was a nice, interesting study. Now, touchdown, a little bit of football news. Russell Okung, he negotiated half of his salary of $13 million to be paid in Bitcoin late last year. And he bought 240 Bitcoins. Now that is estimated to be worth 14.1 million. So he's already done very, very well on his investment. And he's gone from being a middle ranking player to the 4th best player in the NFL, all because of his Bitcoin investment. And coincidentally, today, he is throwing a wealth seminar for NFL football players. I'd love to hear what he's talking about, but I guarantee you there's going to be a whole bunch of football players lining up to try to get paid in Bitcoin as well after seeing his success. So, he's a trailblazer, and good on him for doing that. Mooch, Scaramucci, Trump's former press secretary, came out with something today, and I don't pay much attention to what he says, but he has a very good mouthpiece, and a lot of people listen to him. So he hit the mainstream media by saying Bitcoin is better than gold if you study it. That's the second person I heard today saying Bitcoin is better than gold. And many people say it's going to be 2x gold. And 2x gold means $1 million. 1x gold is about $550,000 of Bitcoin. So more good news for Bitcoin. Now, in other ETF news, we just had the 3rd ETF launch in Brazil. This is an article in Portuguese for those that speak Portuguese down there or anywhere in this channel. And I think this is huge. Canada's first ETF amassed over $1 billion in investments in just 30 days. And there's a lot of very wealthy people in Brazil that are very worried about inflation, especially being neighbors with Argentina. They really know what inflation is all about. So again, more on-ramps, more pump, more bullishness for Bitcoin, which would be great. Stock market, a little bit of stock market news. It was a bumpy week. I know some of you didn't like the turbulence. And Chairman Powell, the FOMC, he got a lot of heat this week. But it seems like he's no longer trying to sweep inflation under the rug. And he said, if it becomes a problem, we'll deal with it if we are at full employment. And the whole thing of the employment numbers, you heard me talking about them a few days ago at 4.5% is the target that they believe they can achieve in 2021. I just love to see how they measure those numbers because so many people left the workforce during the pandemic. So we'll see where all this goes. Anyway, the bond market is getting very nervous. Chairman Powell is not giving them the tranquilizers that they need. The 10-year treasury is up 65 basis points in 2 months. And the markets are rattled. Money is moving from high-tech stocks and high-flying stocks and disruptive stocks into more conservative value stocks. That's a big trend that happened. Also, I think Tesla lost about 3% today. I know a lot of you have Tesla. But the reason it went down is because China are banning all military people from going into Tesla vehicles because they're paranoid about the cameras inside and they don't want the identity of their military to be known. So that's that. I'm sure it's probably an easy fixture to turn off. So getting back to inflation, there's been a big change over the last week, and that is Chairman Powell believes now inflation will be real. There's no denying it anymore. It's stuff that we've been talking about for months. It's here. It's happening. And they say, it is what it is. And that's what's rattling the markets. So you can't just print, you can't just double the money supply in a year and expect there to be no inflation. It's going to happen. And again, that's going to be beneficial for what? I'll say it at the very end. This was a very funny little video. If you guys want to Google it, this guy called Agustín Carstens, he's the general manager of the Bank of International Settlements. If you heard this fellow talk, it would give you chills. He basically said, today we don't know who is spending cash. We don't know what people are doing with their US dollars or their pesos. But when we launch the central bank digital currency, we will have absolute control over everything, over where the money's going, who's spending it, who's receiving it, and we can control exactly how it operates. Now, if that does not put chills down your spine, nothing will. Again, who wants to be part of a central bank digital currency? It is absolutely terrifying, especially for people who are a little bit maybe paranoid about too much government control. But this guy, he completely shot himself in the foot by giving his speech. And I urge you all to listen to it. Actually, I'll drop a link in the link below so you can listen to it for yourselves. But it is horrifying, 50 seconds. Fun question of the day. I always like to balance out the bad news with the good news. So what price would Bitcoin need to hit for the Winklevee Twins to be the richest unit on Earth? So I had playing with some numbers is always fun. So they have at least 200,000 Bitcoin between them that they bought for $11 million about 8 or 9 years ago. And Bezos is the richest man alive because Tesla stock is weak, but that might change soon. So I reckon that Bitcoin needs to hit $1 million for them to be worth more than Jeff Bezos. But then again, we have Chamath, and some people say he has 100,000 Bitcoin. Some people say he has 1 million Bitcoin. I'm not sure where the truth lies, but again, if you guys know, add in the comments below. I'd love to hear. I've read articles from trusted sources that say 1 million Bitcoin, and some say 100,000 Bitcoin. But either way, he's loaded. He's worth billions, and it's massive. So quick conclusion, everybody, and happy Friday. Ethereum should be ready to pounce based on history. It's been lagging for too long now. It normally lags, 10, 15 days behind Bitcoin, and it's just still lagging. So I think it's like a coiled up spring ready to pounce, especially with all the good news, the lack of supply, the NFT revolution that's happening. Stimulus flows should start hitting Bitcoin and even Ethereum very soon. The Bitcoin on-ramps are increasing with the third ETF in place, and there's a lot more coming. Inflation is here, and the Fed isn't even covering it up anymore. CBDCs, oh my goodness, that is just a horror picture. And Tesla had a bumpy week and so did the market, but hopefully that 10-year treasury will come down. And as usual, all roads lead to Bitcoin. So all of this stuff, even though it's kind of bad news and everything else, it just makes for a much better business case for Bitcoin as we go forward. So big thank you as well to the Patreon community. Love working with you every day. And if you like this, hit the like and subscribe if you haven't already. Take care, everybody. Be careful of those usual scammers. See you soon. Bye.